Hello, everyone. Welcome to AVID Perception Podcast. You got your host and the first time seeing our co-host, Ramiz. And it's going to be a one-on-one interesting conversation. I known this guy for over 80 years. And he's been one of the people that, with his kind and choice of like giving love and like supporting you and being there for you, he have a special place in my heart. And he's a very smart kid, and I really would love to see both of us doing better, and that's pretty much what we're trying to do, man. How you doing, brother?
Just living.
Just living?
Yeah, just
All good?
living life.
That's amazing. So, how are you, brother? How is the topics we want to talk about? You ready?
Yeah, I'm good. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm good for.
Sure. So, you were like one of the great people, especially recently. I didn't look into that or we didn't talk about that because I was always talking. I was never listening. And in general, you were like the one to give me good insight about like awareness and like choosing love is actually better for you. Sounds strange, but it is. And how you're supposed to have like a system or a thought pattern if you found whenever something, because honestly you reach some level in your life that everything is either a blessing or a lesson. There is no point of suffering. You're making that to yourself, you know.
Exactly.
So for you, you told me that you got to think about other people. I'll let you handle like explain the whole concept. How did you come about this way of thinking in general?
I mean, just growing up, being a quiet guy, I was never the person to start the topic. I was never the person to continue the conversation. I was more of, you talk and I'll listen because I don't know how to talk sometimes, I blank out. And so I figure, you know what? I'll just be a listener. So my entire life, most of my life, I was just listening, just, taking in what the other person is saying. And I started to realize that as I'm listening to them, I can, in a way, I can start understanding, like, not just like listening to them hear what they're saying, but I also like start understanding like more stuff than what they're just saying because I can also read
Energies.
their
Oh.
features, like what they're going through and everything. It's a little
Vibration,
crazy,
frequency.
and
It's true. We can discuss that. That's a very good topic, but you don't know anything about that either, right?
yeah,
Yeah, which is that's like what blows my mind. I had to come to it from the other way. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. It's just it's kind of hard to explain. It's I'm not gonna say it's a gift.
It is a gift. Some people have talents and gifts, and
That's true, but this is something I kind of just developed.
Okay.
I learned, and yeah, like it's just something that you kind of work towards. So it is a skill,
Of course, yeah.
but yeah, it's something you just have to be motivated towards. Like for me, I really had no choice because I'm not a talker, so I was unfortunately forced to be a listener, which a lot of people when you see like, oh, you're a listener, like what does that mean? Like you just sit there, like in a way, yeah, that's kind of true. Like I just sit there, I listen, but at the same time, I start listening different ways. I listen
Okay.
to how they their physical reactions, how their like their facial expressions, like I said earlier. I start reading those and hearing their words, like how they say and everything. It's just it's something you gotta build upon.
Okay. So you gained an insight knowledge of people by just listening and noticing how do they have body language, frequency, attitude, which is actually the main thing, the hermetic principle, the first religion, like the first thing between us and God was that all existence is mental. Suffering is you doing that to yourself. People can go through tests, people can worry about a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because we're a non-physical beings in these physical bodies, and that's a test. We have a message. We have to learn. We have to participate in the group and the community, right? But you looking into these people, and because you're a listener, so after some time, just I'm not gonna just listen. I'm gonna look more into what they're saying. So you notice that patterns. You notice that body language, which literally called frequency. I'll explain that to you. I'll be happy whenever touch down on that one. And you go from there to understanding where this person coming from, which is a gift. You didn't want to call it a gift, which is amazing because you had to put in hours of listening first, and listening, and not only having inner thoughts. So I listened too, dude. I went to school and stuff, and I listened for a long time, but I always had this, like, my critical mind, or you can listen, you know what they're saying, but you're thinking about your own thing. Like, yeah.
I wouldn't categorize that as the same thing,
Uh-huh.
only because when you listen to a teacher, all you're listening to is just
Correct.
what they're
That's
saying.
a good point.
You're not going for who is this teacher? Why is he in this position?
Mhm.
Why is he look like he's so tired, or
Mhm.
why is he so angry or something?
Mhm.
You're just focused on the words coming out of his mouth,
Mhm.
which is fine. Like, that's what you're supposed to do in school. You're supposed to listen
Correct.
to what they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
So it's a different concept. I could say, like, for a fact, I didn't learn this in school.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that school, like, it's,
No,
you know,
school
it's,
would never learn you this.
yeah, I mean, it's not, I'm not trying to say school's not helpful or anything. Of course it has, like,
Yeah,
its
you
benefits.
have to learn. Yeah. No, I understand your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But, like, this is something you could say it's street knowledge. I learned, outdoors. I learned with friends, with family, with
Mhm.
whoever.
Mhm.
I didn't learn it by someone teaching it to me. I kind of taught myself about this.
Yeah, and that's why you ended up being the guy that everybody loves, and he is that guy. Like, this guy, honestly, like, I know him for 80 years, and I know, like, whatever we've been through, so he's been more kinder than me, and I appreciate that so much. And I didn't understand it. I thought it was weakness, or like something, but like the whole idea of you giving love, or you want to do better, or you doesn't worry what the other person, you're not worried about ego as much or at all at this point, or like you have amazing practice at it. So he builds up these people around him that really, because he understands, like he said, like their vibration, where they're coming from. Okay, they're not ready to listen to whatever I gotta say, so I know what to say at this time. And that's that's the insight, the talent, the magic part of it, which is like, after some listening, and especially if you're paying attention to the person and you want to have different questions, the knowledge is already in us. So you already know what the other person attitude is by just like looking, like you were saying, to the body language. Vibration wise, there is different vibrations. So there is alpha, beta, and I hope I don't mess it up, because and
I have no idea what you're talking
yeah.
about.
So most of the day, so yeah, 95. Remember when you said 95% of your, like, physical brain is the subconscious, and the critical mind use only 5% of the capabilities. So that critical mind, which literally the test for us to be in this, like, three-dimensional life, this life on Earth, is supposed to be develop its own ego, and that one is for survival, right? But right now, like, it is rarely we come, and then, like, thank God, like, the best time we're living, right? It's really, we come to a survival position. So what does the ego roam about? So the ego will come from lust, from vanity, from all the other body needs. Because as a being, you don't need anything, you know. And for you to do hate, that is out of your nature. That is the nature of, like, that body, or like that demon, or like that realm, that you're not supposed to act on it like that. And for you to understand that you are everything, you are the healer, you are the teacher, you are the knowledge, you are the student, it's all in you, because you're literally connected to that soul of God, or conscious, or whatever like idea or you believe in. And we're all that part of that. Like, in every religion, they said God put blow from his soul to, like, make Adam, and then Adam was alone, and then made Eve. But at the end of the day, uh, We are part of God, right? So for us to act on violence, on hate, on anger, on like revenge, which is honestly one of the funniest thing ever, because you're not defending your soul, you're defending your ego. It's like, how could they do that to me? I'm gonna do it. Like, who are you defending? This avatar for this for this like life, for this relation, the whole test. You're supposed you're each of us born with specific talents and very unique advantage. But for some people, it's easier to surface up these, and but for most of us, we need to work on it. We need to understand what we're really passionate about, what really clicks, pretty much, what really is my thing, what is really I want to do, pretty much, with my life. How can I benefit this community, or like the advancement of like the conscious, because that's my part, and that's it. And then when we die, and that's the part that is beautiful. If you did good, which you followed your soul, which is higher purpose, doing good, then you go to heaven. What is heaven? Everything you want is there. That means God elevate your level of capabilities. So you're literally almost, part of like that higher, like God and angel and kings and stuff like that, that have capable to create and do and have any other experience you wanted, and the person who follow that avatar, who gets away, is hell. I'm not sure, I think they just failed the test. I'm not sure really, because it's very hard, like to just be, and that's the whole thing, is when you try to make people afraid or scared, or like, oh, you have to do this or you go to hell, as like literally everything I do would make me go to hell. That is not supposed to way to understand or like conceptualize like your experience, And
I want to jump in for a second. In some cases that works. In some cases, if you have a kid and you're teaching him, to be good, like good, have good manners, be respectful, just, respectful things, and he just does not listen. In some cases, you have to put your foot down and tell him, listen, if you don't do these, God's going to punish you when you get older. But it's, go ahead.
No, I want to listen to this part. Yeah, I want to comment later. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just like, when you say these things that like you'll go to hell for it, then depending on if you're a religious family or not. But if you say you're going to hell for it, then that kid is gonna, he might be a little confused. Like maybe this is like his first or few times he heard of like hell, heaven, and he's gonna start thinking like, so what's hell, what's heaven? He's gonna get that curiosity. He's gonna start thinking about like, okay, so apparently there's a hell and there's a heaven, at least from what mom told me or dad told me. So why do I want to go to heaven and not hell? So then that kid starts thinking. So the benefit of this is that that kid starts like, start doing his own research. He'll probably like look for books, like talk to people here and there. And he'll pick up a bunch of perspective. Like some people will say hell and heaven doesn't exist. Hell and heaven is, it is real for sure. Hell and heaven, you don't go anywhere, you die or something. And so he gets all these things into his head. And then he is given that choice of like, okay, so do I want to believe in hell or heaven? Do I not want to? And obviously from there, it's still the parents' responsibility to teach that kid, what they believe is right for that kid, whether it's to have religion, to not have religion, whatever it may be.
But there is like ethics, right? Like there is ethics regardless. That's the whole point of religion in general. Yeah.
It's a lot of like nowadays, a lot of parents use hell and heaven just as a punishment like method. Like if you don't do your homework, you'll go to hell, and maybe it's true. I've seen parents where they'll literally just say like, if you don't,
it's from the same concept. I understand why. I understand.
And it's just, I mean, it does kind of ruin the, it makes it an illusion where hell is just like, that's hell is being put in timeout. Hell is getting my video games taken away from me. That's their hell. They don't understand that hell is, an actual place you go
Correct,
to.
because they didn't experience it. Yeah, so for them, it's like hell is pretty much not doing what I'm told.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. And then when you grow up, you understand like, okay, I'm not gonna do what I'm told, and then you literally experience hell, because what is hell? I was living in hell. And honestly, and that's the whole idea of this. I just wanted to, from the same concepts and the same thing, and it was an internal choice that I had to let go. I had to look in the moment, and I had to take responsibility for everything in my life and open myself up. And what did I do? Like everybody around me, same as me, people with the same love and same intuition and the same potential, and the same ambition too. And that's what I admire. Just been there around me. And I was like, oh my God, that was all there. I was just so stupid to not control my mind or my thoughts. But for kids, that works, because for kids, when they grow up, they go through this awareness. So for them, like the 3-year is like a survivalist. So he doesn't care about anything except himself, and that's normal. And that's also a problem. So when the kid is not socialized enough, we talked about this, I think so, or no, I don't know.
Maybe.
So, but we can touch down on that one too. When the kid is not socialized that enough, their idea of hell is completely misunderstood. And that's what I wanted to say. Yes, it works for a kid, because all they can understand is their personal benefit and survival, because that's how they're wired. They're kids. They're not supposed to think about bigger than there's not the part yet. But literally, hell is not following your soul, your potential, your higher self. Is not doing love. Is not doing good. Is doing lustful thing. Is doing evil thing. It's just anything derives from the ego is literally hell.
Yeah.
And
I do want to say, like some parents who are very extreme about this, where they'll teach their kid, hell or heaven, they're extremely religious. They're super, into this concept of religion, that their kids grow up into it, and they're basically mimicking their parents
without understanding. Yeah,
like they just do it because, like, oh, if I follow my parents, my mom is gonna give me the video game I want, or if I listen to my dad, he's gonna buy me those that basketball I want to play. So once they reach that age where they start realizing they have choices, they're gonna start
doing the wrong choices, right?
because they were pressured so much into doing the right choice, but it wasn't fun.
Thank you. That is on point, homie. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So go ahead.
It's just something that, like, and once they're pushed to that, they're gonna say, I've been doing the right things my entire life. I want to experience what I feel like to be the wrong thing. I want to see if hell is real. Will I actually be tossed into hell if I, like slept with a bunch of girls? Will I be tossed into hell if, I broke the law or something, And so they start doing extreme things because they want to experience it, because it's just a curious mind, because they never tried it. So, and once they try it for a first time, their mind is going to basically, like, it's going to say, hey, that felt really good.
Okay.
It's all a mindset.
I know, yeah, bro. It's because they're repressed, and they've been like in a box, and they've been like, I just want to turn 18 or whatever and get out, and but we're speaking about someone who grew up with a religious parents. We're not speaking about like everyone, right?
Yeah.
So because like some people are like not that lucky to have parents to care for them, and that's a completely different story, and we're gonna go into that a lot later with different people. And the idea that he's saying is that when a person are forcing, pretty much us brown people, you to do what it's like globally known.
It is.
To do what they want, or like, I'll deny your love from you. That's a different form of trauma completely. And I actually recommend this book called The Myth of Truth by Gaber Mary. And this guy, first psychologist to write down that if you didn't go through your trauma, it can actually come up as diseases in your physical body. That makes so much sense. That's so beautiful because it is the body's ego that was hurt. So this emotion is not roaming anywhere. So it's gonna go into trauma and whatever injury or disease it's gonna be there. And that'll like open my mind up. It's like, ooh, there's a lot of people with trauma, and it's pretty interesting really how to see it developed like this. So when this kid go out of this like parent control pretty much or have their own free will, they would do everything wrong because they never had a chance to. Instead of like the parents were more accepting and let them do the stupid shit when they were a kid and they were there to guide, then that kid like have I wouldn't say better or lower. We all go through some lessons in life, and but I think he would understand. They would have that understanding place of like, am I doing this because okay, so I understand the concept, but like again, I'm not hurting anyone, and I understand that it's demon or ego or whatever, but you're young, you're full of hormones, it's supposed time to roll, and like stuff like this you never experienced, you never have to call it. It's just like it's too strong when you're young. So that is beautiful. That is beautifully put, really, because honestly, I think that it's either lack of people or lack of guidance or the wrong kind of guidance, and that's like the issue from both kind of like people with forcing parents or no parents, like lack of guidance. So they try to force what they could, what they know is good for the kid, but they're not understanding the way they are transcribing or like translating or like explaining that to the kid, that it's just coming from like the ego, like it's a fear based. It's like, I'm gonna deny a pleasure, you're like you said, your video game or whatever. I'm gonna like, because they have authority, you're like, you're a child, you're a responsibility for some person, your parents, and it's gonna be like that experience exactly on the opposite. The more they were hard on him, the more the kid was good, the more whatever. Whenever you have a free will or free choice, immediately they go outside and like they do that stuff. And it's like even in like Christianity, the prodigal son returns. It's like men around the early 30s. They reach the maturity level where they understand it's like, oh, so I'm not that body only. That is not really my existence. Okay, and I've tried what the body can go and do, and the ego and the fame and like the you know what I'm talking about, flexing, or like we all been around one way or another from all these kind of things, and that's like, this is hell. It lift me up, waiting for my value from other people, and that's disastrous. Not giving my love or think I don't deserve love because based on anyone else. I'm supposed to give myself unconditional love all the time. I say that. We all try to practice it. And from there, when you filled your heart and like you can pour over to the people around you, and you can choose. And like the biggest shield you got, because all the devil, the demons are like, if they cannot go against you and me because we're big guys, so they gotta say some shit, right? And when they're like, that's the whole thing. It's like an arrow, like a sphere, like with the armor, and then they keep like, oh, why did he do this? Why did he say that to me? How can he say that? Or how can she do that? And then at the end of the day, it was like, oh my God, it was like, it just rile up, it keep bothering you, right? And the idea of that is just like, well, why does it fucking matter? Why does it matter in the first place? Why does it really? Why do you care what they said?
Yeah.
The more you're trying to be out, and that's also another test from God, Allah, that you push yourself to be the one that gives love. You are really the person that want the better, and they could see that because, bro, you have to shine. Like it's like it's a noticeable energy, especially when you have that, like when we talked about this, the heart, it's very, people can understand it because it pushes other frequency away. So we're going to talk about this amazing human design stuff. So whenever you have the real test, whenever you have the real choice, you kind of try to do the opposite of what you think is right because you did the right for so long. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have a lack experience with the bad side, and that is hell. And now you experience hell, you go to all the depth of hell, and then it's like, oh my God, this is insane. You know, this is where people commit suicide and try to kill themselves, and you understand why. Is it because of like that ego death, that childhood ego death? I'm not who I am. When I imagine I'm a child when I'm that age, nothing really is working for me. Life is too hard on me. I'm a minority or whatever. Like, you know, all that stuff, uh, you know, it's just literally hell. And you wake up, you have the thought pattern that develops into emotions and energy and like make you feel bad. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I kind of want to jump on a topic of what do you think?
Uh-huh.
What do you think a younger kid, like this generation kid, is experiencing while, you know, like let's say he's in a religious household
Uh-huh.
and he's always told to do the right thing, always told this to go to heaven, if you don't do it, go to hell. With this generation, and like I'm pretty sure you know how this generation is very.
I'm not that familiar really. I don't have any kids. I'm not.
I mean, you. I mean,
I understand how they think. Yeah.
yeah,
Because we're all kids. Yeah.
yeah. Like it's almost like how we were kids, except like this generation, they have so much more technology, right? So like they're able to do things that we weren't able to do as a kids. You know, they could communicate with like.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
They can communicate with
With
people.
everybody. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They have more access to the whole world. Yeah.
And like they could communicate the wrong person, saying like, oh, I like that person could be an older person. Oh, I was religious one time and now I'm not, and I'm living the best life of my life, whatever. And they might take that seriously. And I kind of want to know, like, what do you think? Not just us, but just like older generation could do to help these kids be pushed in the right path.
Exactly what I'm doing right now. So the older generation were depending on demonizing you, telling you you're bad, right? Telling you you're not a good kid, comparing you with other kids, so fucking toxic. And like I'm not happy with you, denying you from love and acceptance because you don't do what they want, right? Scaring you to follow their way that they grow up. And the baby boomers did the worst thing because there was like literally no laws or human right, like even if there were laws, there were not awareness of like the human experience as we have right now, and the knowledge wasn't that much, so people can do horrible things, you know. It's like, oh my God, what is a kid? Because of course if the father was just like looking for a lust and all of a sudden you think he has a kid, so for him it's like a bad thing, you know, which is one of the most beautiful things, you know, to have a child, and it's supposed to be like something you're looking up for, and like it's in our DNA, right? But and you be happy that you have one, you know, but at the same time for them it's just, oh, that's keeping me down, that's like taking payments, a bit asshole crying, you know, and not listening. So they go back because ego, they go back from the same thing. But if they were about giving love, caring about making the best kid understand, so before boomers, it's baby boomers and us, and then like the Z and X and stuff like that, right? So they did that because they didn't know better, and that's because their parents did it to them. Now it's our time to change that conversation with our kid when telling them hell is literally following the body. So what is the body? Because literally as a soul or as a being, you do not need love. And I think first thing has to be taught to kids is how to love yourself. You know, remember in Islam, for example, you're supposed to love God more than you love yourself, right? But what is God? What is the self? It's the ego, like the whole like existence of the mind over this right now. But what is God? We're a part of God, right? So we're supposed to love ourselves, and of course we have to bow to the King of all kings, like Allah, the God. But in a simpler way to understand it, it's just you have to love yourself so much and understand that talking this or the community around you or the people or whatever the society is doing or whatever cool kids is doing You think they're happy, they're lying. You don't believe me, you can experience it. But I that's all I wish I had been told, bro, since when I was a little kid, is that, but again, it's beautiful because that's the process and that's the soul, and God want me to go through this, you know. So I'm like, I'm not regretting anything. But what I would do different is try to tell that kid that you can try. You're gonna have this body urgent, like, you know, and the need and the necessities, and they're gonna be so much in the society to justify you following your ego. And actually, not only that, it's making you think that you are your ego, your body, your needs, your lust, your fame, your attention, your dopamine hits, your whatever it's going, you know, what's going on. Just being the addictive pattern of something that doesn't last. uh, Attention span is like 2.3 seconds now in America. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And then going through all of that, you have to make the kid aware that they are part of God, and yes, there's mistakes going to be happen because there's free choice, but mistakes doesn't have to be done well without the intention of not spreading love. So with this done, that takes care of like 90% of the pitfalls that the kid gonna do. Do you feel good about doing this? Is that something you love doing? You know, are you gonna share that with your family and parents and friends? Do you?
I want to touch back on that topic of short. What's the term? Short span. Like we
Short attention span, yeah.
Yeah, attention span. I want to touch back on it because if you think about it, if you want to have that kid be more religious, be more, mindful of God and everything, it's going to require more time for that kid to obviously get like make him feel like, okay, I want this. But if that kid is shown like, this worldly pleasure of like, video games, friends, like bad things on the internet, it's so simple. It's so simple to get that like there's no work needed just to get that,
To get what?
to get this worldly pleasure, the body pleasure, not the soul pleasure.
Of course, because there's no work needed, because that is a test, because you have to go through the effort.
Yeah.
Everything that is worth doing, it's going to be tiring. It's going to be complicated.
But I want to ask, but do you think that there is a soul pleasure that can be accessed, like so easily?
Yes, and that's why I think I changed. Yes, there is a soul pleasure. And that soul pleasure, Ramiz, is you knowing how to shut down that critical mind, that whatever is like, we spoke about it too much, and go back to no thought. So when you go back to no thought, you're already opening up your third eye, and like energy-wise, or the whole thing, there is always like a center, part of our brain. It's in the middle of our brain. It's where you actually connect with the whole source consciously, with Allah, with God, all light. It's so interesting that all light is Allah. I like this. So with meditation, when you know how to shut down so that's something I really love for me to tell you right now, because I think we never talked about this. So what really made the difference is me, after I wake up, when you wake up, you're like, oh, I'm tired. I'm going to like go drink coffee, go to the restroom, and like shower. It's all like body. Like, then you get in that dopamine head and crash and head and crash and head, and then you're depressed. Why? Because you're not connected to the source, to the soul. So how do you do that? You do that by understanding that first thought had to shut up. So one of the best ways to do it, and I kind of own this to one of my good friends. His name is Akash. He's been here before. So what he was telling me is, I don't know the term for it, but in meditation is like you focus on one thing. It doesn't have to be your breath. It doesn't even have to close your eyes, but be in a comfortable position where you're focusing on one thing, and trying to make sure that I'm not thinking about anything right now. At all. And whenever you think a thought come, what am I doing if they come, if my mom came and think I'm crazy or like I'm doing Buddhist stuff, or like whatever. Oh, well, what did she say? Or like, oh, what I'm gonna do to what I have
Can I
to do.
jump in for a second?
Sure.
I find it amazing how when people think of meditation, they think of Buddhism.
No, this is a joke.
No, it's true.
Mhm.
Like you could literally say meditation, and immediately people
Mhm.
think of Buddhists.
I agree, and I'm explaining.
But I mean, the
No.
funny thing is that Islam,
Is
it's
that-
all about meditation. Why isn't
That's
that?
what I'm gonna explain it to you.
Yeah,
right
go
now.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, and the whole idea is to connect from this body needs, right? And like you shut down every thought for like try to do it at least 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Like try to practice it 2 to 3 times a day, and then after that is like okay. So what do I really want? You know, you just be in control of your being in the body. That is the first step. You know, in our religion, you're talking about in Islam, there's like a lot of like dhikr. You have to say the name of like the holy God or like Allah in a different forms all the time, right? You have to pray 5 times, which is I'm going to touch on that exactly. You have to read the book, right? It doesn't make sense. That's what I'm trying to tell you, dude. It doesn't make sense energy wise. That's why it's not connecting right now. But if you look at it back, what are you supposed to do when you're praying? Not to think about anything else except the words you're saying, right? What are you supposed to be when you're saying the name of God all the time? You're not supposed to think about anything else except saying whatever, like, like things you're going to remember the name of God of, So when you say like Allahu Akbar, which is like one of the controversial, I don't know how to translate it to that one. It just means like God is the greatest, which is I'm part of that. Like we as a being are bigger than this third lust gain, like vanity, fame, what people say, ego, depression, and narcissism, all that parts. We are bigger than this, and of course we bow down to the King of Kings, and that is also connected to who we are, because if you didn't have something you think that is bigger than you, because we're not the biggest in the universe. And you have to come to clear to that, though. That is a being, an energy, a conscious, whatever you believe in. But in our religion, it is Allah. It's very clear. Like it literally fine-tuned the whole thing. But the way it's taught from, or what I've experienced, that I'm not speaking about everyone, is that you don't hear conscious and awareness when you're talking about praying and reminding and why these are good deeds. People are right now, dude, practicing everything we do, but not calling themselves Muslims. And that's an insanity when people think that we are like the whole idea of who they put who we us are, is completely falsified. But it's also interesting, because it's true. I've been there. We never talked about awareness, right? We never talked about energy. We never talked that we are already God. We already have all the knowledge. Each of us have like the true purpose and potential for each of us right now, for each soul in general. And that's my belief. I'm not my idea, but I could be wrong, and I'm often am. So, and that's the knowledge that I collected so far, so I can have this understanding, So my understanding came to as much as you not going, because each of us have a very unique ability, like a very unique honed down skill or talent pretty much, and we're supposed to experience that, and do that and build the whole community, which is the other forms of God, other human beings, and everybody else. And like it's all like we're connected. No cell is stable, even matter like solid like that, it is not stable, and like they come to say it is like different light perception. I'm not going to go too deep on that one, but what I'm trying to say is that really the idea of you doing the right thing by yourself, because we have it too in Islam, right? It's like, what should a believer do? Guide his heart, right? Correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's already there. See how insane it is? Because I mean, thank God for everything. But you mean for me to go through or for general, to just make sense And it almost clicked 100% once I understood the full concept. I was like, huh, so that's what they've been talking about, but they haven't been saying it the correct way. And again, I'm not talking about anybody, but I'm just saying that the people who try to express it are not really aware. And that is sad, and because they're not saying anything about awareness, they're not expressing it, they're not trying to give you the better picture that you are connected with anyone. When you try to harm or kill or like end someone's life, that is you acting on your avatar, the ego. That is not you developing and experiencing and hopefully maintaining your line or like building this community, this like this life that we have it. And that's the whole test, just having this worldly pleasure, but in the guidance of what my heart tell me, what is really good for me, what I feel passionate about, like when somebody asks you or somebody pops up, you said you understood frequency, it's like, so when some people can come to you, you're just like, it's okay, I'll protect you and stuff, which is, you're amazing in that. But when other people, I'm sure you're aware, is like, I have nothing to do with you, right? Because you can see that frequency, right? So that's the whole idea. Right now, I'm like the whole planet vibration just lifted up. So that means that people who think about the body are not going to feel happier, going to be more depressed, more sad, commit suicide because of that childhood ego that they didn't kill yet.
So you mentioned this avatar a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go more into that? Like,
so I do believe, I do believe 100% that we are not this body. Like you can go on like proof or not, but again, we are not just this like this body that we're familiar to know each other from, right? We are more of a soul or a being that is a part of God that had to go through this experience for the collective knowledge. Like the experience we have right now, the experience, the different, even good or bad, still add to the collective knowledge of the whole consciousness, which is Allah. So that experience we have, even if we don't like it, but that added experience of like, oh, okay, that's literally how to react to it, because we're different form of the same thing, right? Different looks, faces, genders of the same thing, the same soul. You know what I'm talking about? So understanding that your passion and your point of like what you really want to get in this life is trying to find your unique skill or talent and hone on it and try to help as much people as possible, add value to your community or society as much as you could. And from there, you understand that everything you choose in your life messes you up, put you in hell. Why am I saying avatar too much? Because what is the avatar? Again, avatar is the body, avatar is the lust. I am a soul. I am way more powerful than this body, and you are, and we all are, but we're just limited in this meat suit for the exact experience and to test what we're going to do. That we're like this hybrid being. So for us to understand that I am really not this. I'm not really society would think of me, and it destroys some people. Like I was telling you, some people like their whole identity is their career or what the society think of them, or like whatever. And then like one of them breaks, and it's very easily, and that's gonna happen because God want to see what the soul's supposed to do. Is as long as you're following that avatar, the body, anything that derives from the body's existence, the needs. It is always only not for spreading love, not for intention. Bro, إنما الأعمال بالنيات. We have it in our exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Your intent has to be 100% clear in everything you do. You don't need to worry about religion. You're going to do like 100% of what religion says, because that's literally the point. If your intention is not bad against any other person, like you met that girl, you're just gonna hook up and ghost her. That's your intention. That's you following your avatar. And then oh my God, think what happened? Way worse things happened to you because you chose that path. So that avatar, that stuff that we're supposed to test is like, I'm not here for that. And that's why like people go to hell by doing what? By just following this, by go blindly to whatever, the empire is, and like trying to do whatever they're told and try to be as like. But again, they didn't fulfill, or they don't know their own potential and true potential and talent to fulfill whatever they could, and that's the whole reason for our existence, because suffering is internal.
Yeah, I feel that way too, actually. Yeah, definitely. This avatar that we use to experience this world,
Mm-hmm.
it's I see it as a gift and a curse.
That's why it's a test. That's why there's free choice. Yeah. What are you gonna? And that's the whole idea. Yeah.
It's something that like for instance, the reason why I see it's a gift is because you can do so much with this body. Like you can, I mean, like look around you. There's people who are doing insane things like building like, holy places with like they build technology to build that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a hard thing to think about, but like we're able to do so much. But the curse is that we can do so much.
Mm-hmm.
We can do such bad things so easily. Like there's sometimes not even thinking about it. Like I wanna, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
I see someone who's very I'm at a club, I see someone very weak. I could take advantage of them so easily.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it's
That's ego. Yeah.
exactly. And just to do the right thing, you have to work for like, no, I should probably find that person. I should probably help that person,
Mm-hmm.
But you have to work for that. You can't, it's not your body just naturally wants to do bad things, I guess. It's,
I think no, it's not. I don't think the body want to do it. Like it's true, the body would
Yeah.
lead you to a bad thing, and that's
Yeah.
the whole idea. It's an illusion. It will elude you to think you're only that body. That's its job
yeah.
for your survival. So in order for this soul to experience this unique talent that it's been given by the whole, because we're all like different, uniqueness to the same thing, to the same consciousness. So if you just focused on like the body, which is just like, doing repetitive thing, working for someone, not really fulfilling anything for your potential, I mean, like we all work, right? But just try to get our bills. But the whole thing, did we really find what we're really passionate about? Did we really find our special ability? Did we really find what really makes us like put a valuable contribution to
Yeah.
like the community, the society, the human being in general, Do you still look at other people and judge? Judging is one of the worst things you could do in your life, and it's still everything is there, is in Islam, dude. I was just like, so yes, judging, and like, what did it say? Like, shouldn't you put yourself in your brother's shoes and think about like one of like the good scholars said like 70 excuses, just. And when I told you this, what did you say? It was like, well, you're supposed to think about other people as, what if they just lost their mom, right? What if they're just like, not,
Yeah.
what if they had a horrible thing?
It was the incident happened after we were driving and that guy cut us off.
Yes.
And obviously, I mean, any
you.
natural person would react with rage,
Yeah.
like cut me off, like you could have hit me, I could have got an accident.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to, like maybe that person had bad intentions.
No, but it's good for the lesson. That was a
exactly.
reason. Yeah.
But like it's good to think that like maybe that person just became a father. Like his
Yeah.
wife just gave pregnancy and he's super late.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you wish that that person in the fast
Safe.
lane going slow
Yeah.
would like slow down for you because you're in such a hurry,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or your mom's at the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
or you're late for an interview,
Mm-hmm.
like
Or rushing to work, or
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
it's good to have this mindset
Yeah.
that people have good intentions.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, it's still good for yourself.
Yes, and that's the key word.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. It give you peace of mind, and then you're still looking for the good in everybody because you have that good in you. Then what are you gonna surround yourself with? People who's good around you. All the lessons or like the experiences or like whatever difficulty is, it's not really difficult. Difficult for this body. What you want to rest? You want to get like sedated with like drugs or alcohol or whatever, right? And you want to like put it down in that way, but again, that's all the body though. Yeah, the body can make you feel amazing things. It's a very fine-tuned system, and that can elude. And again, you said like doesn't want bad. It's supposed to do good, but again, who's leading? That's the whole point of meditation. Because meditation, you meet that part of you that is like not the physical, not like the girls, not like the lust, not like the crave of drugs, of like cigarettes or whatever. Not that whole part. You just shut it down and you like tell it, okay, I'm supposed to go like I said, wake up. You're supposed to go to the restroom. Supposed to go eat. Like, no, I'm gonna sit. You sit down. Who's telling yourself to do that. Your own being. That's the first time. It's like you're not going to think about anything.
Exactly.
I am leading this.
Yeah. And also going off of that, like you're forcing yourself to do this. So you're forcing your body to do these things that you naturally don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You naturally want to use your phone for however long
Mm-hmm.
your battery lasts. You know, you just want to scroll on TikTok. You just want to, you know, just play games. You want to chat with that person. And going off of that, like your body, it's go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't experience any pleasure. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying the intention has to be clear and coming out of love, and that's gonna make most of the experiences good for your purpose to actually find people or like to do whatever you're supposed to do in this life, you know? So that's what I'm saying. No, of course, like we're supposed to get, that's the whole idea. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to have lust for girls because that's what you want, right? You're supposed to want this big car because it's not really the soul at this point. So like you know, like even in Islam, and it's like every conscious and like person who's aware on like the shamans and everything, they were like the person who's most wealth is the person they're gonna suffer the most in front of God, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because what is the point you're doing there? Like you're like robbing, like you just make it like, what is this? You know?
Yeah.
And it's even our religion, like you can give a man a town, a hill or like a tower or a mountain of gold. Say, give me another one. It's that ego. It's that part of us, bro.
Yeah.
You have to control your mind. Your mind does not run you. Your thought does not run you. And the first step is to try to sit down, relax, and every time try to think about anything else, like, no, I'm doing this now.
So that's physical stuff that, like, you know, the body just wants. But what about the body itself? Like, there's people out there, like, for instance, there's bodybuilders. They're working on their own body, which would you say it's a good thing?
One. Yeah, it is a good one. So this body need to work regardless. So the lifestyle we have right now is not really optimal for human survival if we didn't just work out at all. If there's no, so there, let me explain it for you from a medical perspective. So if we didn't work out, your bones get thinner. That's why old people, when they fell down, they break their bones or hip or whatever, right? If you didn't work out, your heart, you're going to develop heart conditions. You're going to have like diabetes. You're going to have issues with your body because that body have so much energy and you need to do that effort. You need to work it out, you know, before or like the whole, like in the prophets, you know, everybody was like, lifestyle was so hard. It's like working out. We couldn't even do it. Imagine working out for 24 hours, dude. It's like, when do I get to rest? When you sleep, you know? So that's literally it. So the lifestyle we have right now, you need to just, as soon as you wake up, if you, the ultimate good thing, get some sunlight, do the meditation, get some sunlight, and do physical activity. Because once you take off that excess ego, you know, like I'm better, I'm gonna, whatever, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm the best, or whatever. You put it out and like humbling yourself at the beginning of the day, because that's what it does. Working out really humble you because, oh my God, I cannot lift that weight.
Yeah.
What does that show you? I'm weak. What does that show you? I don't know anything. I cannot do it, because like it's a reminder that you're not the whole conscious. You're just a part of it. Wherever you want to go, you're not going to reach the God level. You have his gift, like a speck of his spirit, but at the same time is for you to do a mission. And then after you're done with this test, you know, you're good. But that doesn't mean you don't really like enjoy the body too. That's what I'm trying to say.
And plus,
intention,
like not only are you experiencing his life, you're experiencing his body that God gave you, or I should say God lent it to you. Because like the way I see it is that you're given his body, and you're told that, like, you know, live life, you know, basically this year test, whatever. And it's almost like you're renting a vehicle. You don't want to get that vehicle back after like accident. Excuse me.
We're good.
After accident, after, you know, experiencing like, you know, like the car getting damaged, you know, because they got to pay for it. So same for the body. You want to give it back supposedly you want to give it back the way you received it. But I personally, like, I agree with you. Like, you need to do physical activities. You need to strengthen your body. I personally believe that you want to give the body back even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I always look up to when I think about this is the Japanese culture.
Okay.
So this was a good example. I believe this was FIFA. It's like couple of tournaments ago. I think it's like 2018, maybe 2016. I forgot what year it was.
World
But
Cup?
but the Japanese basically, they were visiting to watch their game, and that the auditorium, they told them I'm sorry, the auditorium was surprised that, like, when the Japanese came, like, they were like, basically area was okay, was clean, whatever. But when they left, when the people left, it was cleaner than before.
Yeah, they pick up their trash.
They
and that's
clean up
beautiful,
everything,
Yeah, and that's energy, right? Yeah,
exactly.
That's
So
beautiful.
why can't we treat our body like that? Why can't we receive it like this, like normally, and then give it back better than ever?
Yeah, and that's the whole idea. Like, you're not alone. You're not supposed to litter. You're not supposed to do waste. You're supposed to do good. You're supposed to clean. You're supposed to spread love. You're supposed to do the effort because that's what the body is made for. Okay, not working out, then do effort. Why are you lazy? It's not. It's not lazy. It's like, why are you misunderstanding these concepts of why the body exists? What's the point of life or whatever this thing is? It's just the thing is supposed to. This body going to give you pain if you work it, and it's going to be challenging. And that's the whole idea. But with that challenge, everything lies on the other end of that. Sitting down, running plans in your mind, trying to find like 20 things to do is like not doing anything, just overthinking is for who? Just do. Don't overthink. Just act with the feeling you got, with the intention you got. You're doing good. You know what, don't hesitate. Because it's just, bro, people, like, honestly, I was like, I thought it, like, I had it like over a week ago. It's like when I was like sitting down, I was like, damn, I think when I'm going to be dead in the grave, I'm going to be wishing I didn't waste a second in here, So it's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'll rest when I'm dead is literal. But you have to have good sleep. You have to have good nutrition to have the optimal, life and the most functional body for you. But you have to act on what feels for you. What your intuition? What do you love? We all have something to do. We all have something to share. We all have something to love. We all want to do something, and we're going to keep going, breaking egos, breaking talents, breaking jobs, breaking understanding of how to make money until we find our own way. And with that, going to come everything else. Going to come love. If you only follow what the true path, you, God, what is God telling you? What is you are here for? You know that. I don't know that.
And then going back to how you mentioned, think about others.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the things you can do with a stronger body. Maybe you see someone distressed, being attacked by someone else. You could jump and defend them.
Yeah.
You see
I'm
someone.
not doing that, by the way, but he is. Yeah. Go ahead. I mean, because again, this is like, in order for.
I mean, it's not something you should like
just try to spread love. It's like, what's going on, guys? Like, it's not really worth it. Whatever's going on, what's going on. Like,
but what I was going at was that, like, you can build this body to be very strong, where you can not only benefit yourself, like spiritually too. Like, for instance, if you have better cardio, you can you
notice the difference when you get
I know.
So when you go like this, I'm hearing you through their voice, but I'm not hearing you through the mic, so you gotta get so close. Go ahead, sorry.
So like, just like, for instance, like spiritually, or like if you build up cardio, you can pray for like 10 more hours, but also at the same time you can build up strength for, like, if you see a person with
evil,
just like small
evil, right?
things.
No love,
of course, like things like, just like random things like this, you can help out, like, you have the strength for. I mean, physically, mentally, whatever it may be, but because you have that strength, it just helps you more, because you
Of course, you
have
have
the
a capable
capability.
body, yeah, of course,
Exactly.
and that is also in Islam, right? It's
Yeah.
just like you have to and there's like literally it is a guide, but I think the whatever happened through the years, we kind of misunderstood who we are, why we're here. To like, oh my God, you want to follow this, you don't do this, you're gonna go to hell. It's like go to hell. It's like all the scare tactics, but no real understanding. It's like why? It is so simple. Like you're halfway there. Why not explaining the other end? You know. And that was a very interesting part towards. Like I mean I don't know, but I mean I know now what I'm gonna say in the future and to a kid or to anybody else is like yes, these are rules put for the same reason. Do you feel good talking shit about someone else? Do you feel good, doing like betraying or having an affair? What do you feel good about it? Is that what you love? Literally, bro. Once you do that, it dissipates. But again, the level of understanding and awareness in different culture is not the same, or like it's not there at all. And that's the whole idea of this like trick of this life is supposed to trick you that you're just here as a physical body, as a unit. I'm like, no, bro, that's not real.
Yeah.
Why? Because I felt myself dying doing what I didn't want to do. Exactly. I know that.
So what about the mental state?
So the mental state, like I said, with meditation, so after you practice, it's like a muscle. It's going to be very hard. It took me 6 months. I was doing meditation, dude, for 6 months. You see how hard my path was, to just be able to shut down the thoughts. Oh, bro, and once you are like shut it down, that is literally true pleasure. That is better than any other dopamine. It's just like euphoric love, of life, of existence, of this experience, of everything else. Because honestly, if everything you wanted, you get it, it'd be boring, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole idea we're here.
And when it comes to like mental state, I feel like a lot of people
So
struggle.
define mental state. Yeah, struggle with that. Go ahead.
Mental state is, mental strength, I should say,
Mhm.
is being able to, maybe doing something repetitively over and over again. Like for instance, you make zikr.
Forcing yourself, yeah.
You make zikr. You're praying, you make it the speed over and over again. Like the Prophet ﷺ used to, he used to do tasbih like 1,000, 10,000 times, within one sitting.
Mhm.
He will literally sit
That's
there
working
for
out.
hours. That's mental working out, yeah.
But real
And
working out too. But yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
But like nowadays, there's people who, they'll sit down for like, they'll even sit down for Zoom school, whatever. They'll sit there for 5 minutes, get so bored, and then they'll just drop the webcam and start playing some games.
Yeah.
Because they can't sit through it. They can't even just sit there, like mental strength. Like a lot of people, like, we look at it like, oh, it's, who needs mental strength? I'll just
Mhm.
get a degree and work a job that like, I just sit there all day, listen to someone talk, and I just, get paid doing nothing, whatever.
Mhm.
But why not, why is mental strength something that people just, don't care about nowadays? Like, like I hate bringing this up, but look at Twitter, like,
Mhm.
like just Twitter itself is like, it's so toxic,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
people, you could ask like simplest question, people just bring out their egos. They don't even think about it. They just want to say what they want to say, and they just want to cause a reaction because it's funny, whatever. But like, no one thinks about anything there, like, or anywhere, even in real life, it's something that really, it lacks a lot in
100%.
in
Yeah.
today's life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry. So what's the question again?
No, I was just gonna ask, like, what do you think we can do to begin with? I know meditation
Mhm.
is a great, idea of how to get started, but some people can't even just sit down.
No, there's
So
no way around this
what do you
one.
think we can do to get
Also-
started? Like something simple that we can work on little by little, and that's easy enough for like anyone with like a
Well-
bad, yeah.
I don't know for everyone. I know what worked for me. I can share that. I know how to align myself, at least from the experiences and thoughts and knowledge that I collected through the years, to have this mental strength. Um, but I'm not sure it's gonna work on everyone. But this is what I do. So the first question is, the body, if you follow the pattern, it's gonna get tired, and it's very normalized that you're not supposed to be tired. It's like, what? It's supposed to be tired. You're not supposed to detach from that pain. Only if your intention is correct, your intention will carry through, the love will carry through. So the first thing we have to do, for me, is like, okay, I'm not trying to rest my body for the rest of my life, right? And if I were in a grave right now, that question wakes me up. It's like, when I feel, I was like, oh, no, I'm gonna get killed. Because literally I imagine myself in the grave. It's like, and I had this opportunity and I didn't do it. Why? Because I want to sit down. I'm not doing nothing but sitting down for eternity now. So I was like, if I were in the grave, would I be? What would I do now? That's my number one question. And my number two, where is this coming from? And this is like coming out of love, or it's coming out of pure intentions, coming out of sharing, exchanging, having benefit to the rest of humanity, or like to like, is this is this a beneficial thing? Is this something that I'm interested in doing, that I'm passionate, like this is following my past, my passions? And the third thing is like, when you're that tired, like how tired we're talking about, but you're supposed to be tired, and I think that is something that is normal. The way we are tired is because we're malnutrition. We are thinking about the critical mind, where our mind are running a 24/7. Some people cannot sleep from that. Like they go to doctors and stuff. It's like, dude, just shut your mind, stop your thoughts. That's why you can't sleep.
Sadly, we live in a day where we think a pill is going to fix that.
Yeah, that's insanity. Yeah, and there's a quick fix for everything, right? Everything's supposed to be fast. The faster it is, the more you detach from the soul, because even God Himself, like, took like 7 or 9 days to create the earth. So it's like, for you to manifest or create your own potential, or like create, like start to add value, to have your own manifestation and creation and to come to fruition, you need to be patient. And patience is another source. It's like, I'm not getting it right now. It's like, that's great. Because you know what? There's things I wished for when I was younger. And I was like, oh, if I were there with this knowledge at that time, that would have been a disastrous for me. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, it's not happening. So what I'm doing, I'm either working out, I'm learning, I'm trying to give. And then it's very easy for you, or like almost, when you have a very fulfilling, good day of just giving love, doing what you love, trying to share concepts. Even if you have your job, you still have trying to hone down on your skill, or like something that is your true, you think and you feel in yourself, that is your true potential. That give you energy to keep going through. And then we're all get tired, but again, that is lack of nutrition, lack of sleep, and not be able to detach. The more you're not overthinking, because that's energy, and we don't know that, and that's insane. Like, mind burn more calories than when you work out if you are overthinking. We don't think about that as much, right? But the more you're not overthinking about what people are gonna say, what's going on, the more you're thinking about questions like, oh, this is what I want. What ways would it be to have it? Because that's literally how it is. If you're coming out of love, not the ego part, fulfilling your fruition. So number one question is, if I were in a grave right now, like, I'm suddenly back to life and I'm tired and I want to do the thing, but I would like try to do this, try to go and create and do stuff, but I'm tired. It's like, if I were like literally in the grave right now, what would I wish I did? So it's like, it just like puts the fire under my ass, man, and just like you're ready to roll. Because it's like, this life is too short. It's not worth living it thinking about what people think of you. It's not worth like going for it, like accepting and wanting love from others, where you're supposed to have it in yourself. You're supposed to have your own value, your own love, in yourself, and you're doing like you're supposed to spread love, not ego, not hate, not looking in mean way. People can feel that frequency, people can feel that energy, and that's what's called an attitude. That's why it's like they can say the same thing if there's a true message, but the way you say it, like you're saying, like somebody can take it, somebody cannot take it because they understand your frequency, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about dieting, like or you talked to me personally about this dieting, how you did a certain diet for like close to a year. Obviously that affected your physical features. You know, you got healthier, you strengthened your stamina, but how did that affect your mental state? Do you think that actually played a part for your mental state?
So surprisingly, I would not be able to reach this heightened level of awareness uh, w- before without starving the body. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a little challenging to have that much energy, you know, because like when you have that much food in you, and like you went to work, you worked out, but then like, dude, you have a lot of energy, and you know when men have a lot of energy, you know, it's just pretty much the other way, you know. So like the body gonna lead you from there. It's like, okay, so let me adjust how much energy can I give to this body to be able to perform its functions, but and of course, but with this awareness that I have right now, I can add energy because I know it's not leading anymore. But before, when I was doing the diet, I was trying to teach the body that you need to shut up, you know? And it was horrific time. And like nowadays, we live in a time where like people are committing suicide on a daily. It's like record high, and it's just insanity right now. And that's the whole part of it, man. It just, dude, whatever happened has happened. This is supposed to be an experience, and it's meant to have this experience, you know, and it's meant to have this lesson because everything happened to you. You think it's challenging because it blow your understanding of the world, right? Like, how did this happen? Like, what is the point, you know? So the first thing is to think about is like, what did I learn from this? Because that is really the point of any interaction you have alive. What did I learn from this? You're just like a recording feed, like a recording clones of all of us, just from the same part of the soul, just trying to collect knowledge from experiences, from learning, from going through that emotion, that body, everything. So with starving the body, because I would try to test it, right? I would have cheat days, I'd have days when I have high calories, and then I would like go to the wrong direction, one time after the other, one time after the other, and I was like, okay, that's
Just to experiment, or on purpose? I mean, on accident.
I like usually, and that's also a weird part about me, bro. I was fascinated since a kid with Bruce Lee. Always try to like master the body, like make the body obey. And for him, he would go on these crazy diets where they eat like 200 calories a day or eat nothing for a couple of days. But thank God I have better knowledge. So I'm literally like recording or like trying on myself, and I'm the lab rat, this whole theories. So let's see if I follow this theory, what I'm gonna feel, you know, how I'm gonna be able to do, how much energy would I carry, how is my mental state? Because when you don't eat, you feel bad, you know. So but I wanted that though, or God wanted that, because you feeling bad for too much is like, what is the point of I feeling bad? What's causing this, you know? And that was part of it, yeah. But now I'm like, there's some days I would increase protein pretty much in calories, but most days I would be under what I'm supposed to be. Some days I would go over, you know. And it's would be mostly when I'm like I told you, when you're too lean, you're too weak, your neural pathway is not working good, you're malnourished, you know, especially when you're like fasting like every week for 3 days straight. It's called monk fasting. And it's called monk fasting for a reason, because like you'll literally reach another level of like because you have no energy to do shit. You're just sitting there and it's like, oh my God. So there is no pleasure coming from here. What is the other way? So it points up. It's amazing. And so I'm always like considering myself as the lab rat with these ones. But when I was too lean for too long, of course, I was malnourished. I didn't think good or correctly. Like when you're not eating good, like lack of cholesterol make you more aggressive. And doing the other parts that's like related to the body. So I understood that I have to master the body. I'm not interested in how to make things. I want to make sure how we work as beings. Does that make sense?
It
Yeah,
does.
I was more interested in like the machine of, so why do we feel like that? If we take that medicine, if we did this experience, if we had this, whatever, if we went out with friends, if we by ourselves, why do we have that? I always had this question since I was a kid. So I was trying to myself on like dieting and finding different ways. And then, so like a long time I was doing it for like just following the plain ass diet, not doing what I want. But this time I was liberally experimenting with it. I was like, okay, so I can try different diets. I can see which one would fit right now. But generally, you don't want to stick with one diet for so long, you know, because you need to like have metabolic flexibility. So you need to go from a diet that does have some carbs sometime, like restrictive carbs, restrictive feeding, intermittent fasting, keto, you know, and like stuff like that to just make sure that your body functions in all different directions, you know? Yeah.
Have you experienced fatigue where you
Yeah, hell yeah.
like you just couldn't help yourself and you just binge eat, just started eating junk food just to, pleasure your body because you couldn't take it anymore?
Yes, yes, I did. And usually my cheat meal would be, gosh.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just like Mexican food. So it'd be a burrito, nachos, and quesadilla, you know?
Good choice.
Yeah, best, I think. I think that the best, most flavorful subject that is open 24 hours, that you can
Exactly.
eat. Yeah, so it's like it hits a point.
Yeah.
So of course, yeah, I'd eat and I would like be super bloated and I'll feel shitty the next day because you're not supposed to eat before food, before sleep. Because you're not supposed to have high blood sugar, you're not gonna have really good sleep. You're not gonna reach that REM sleep.
And plus your body goes sleep itself when you go sleep.
It
So
gets
it's not
knocked
working.
out. It gets knocked out. So pretty
Yeah.
much your body sucks all the blood and just put it to the liver and to the stomach when you overeat to just like, oh my God, we have a lot more problem right now. That's why when people overeat, they're like, oh my, like sugar coma, they feel like more tired, not less tired. Yeah, but yeah, man, it's just you can do all of these, but like once every 3 or 4 days, I would have a cheat meal, but then I'll be fasting at least 2 days out of that four. For example, I'm just trying to give you like an idea of like how would it run, but I would still be tired because the food that I would break my calories for would be shitty food. So I went on this like, oh, I'm gonna fast to drop the salt and everything, and then I'll like build it up with some shitty food. I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
Did you have a substitute while you were fasting? Like for instance, you're avoiding sodium.
No, I don't. You never should avoid sodium, and I want to inform people with that. Sodium is very important.
What about just cutting it? Not entirely cutting.
No, sodium, bro. This is a myth. So sodium is misunderstood, or salt. So the salt we eat, the iodized salt, is a washed up salt. That's why it causes high blood pressure because it's just salt by itself. But the sea salt or the Himalayan sea salt, which is my favorite, other than like you can put a lot more quantity of it and it would have actually way less sodium in it, but the sodium is not by itself, it's just paired with other minerals. So even the transfusion or like how the salt move in your body from one part to the other, it's not going to cause high blood pressure, it's not going to make you gain weight, it's not going to make you hold water, because that is the right salt. But again, when we talk about this, sodium is like, no, you should have sodium. Sodium is very important for your brain. It's an electrolyte. You need it. And it's very important for like bone sedimentation. When they try to torture people in like the isolation chamber or whatever, and they're like, no, don't give them sodium, remember, and like stuff like that, so the bone will break. That. So that shows the importance of it, man. Sodium is essential for life. You cannot deny any electrolyte just because it's gonna gain weight. And that's also another thing. The way to be that cut like these bodybuilders, what happens to them? They fall on stage, right? Why? Is that a normal state?
I don't think
Nothing
so.
is normal. And that's what we're talking about. Like these people working out, you can overdo the working out into like put more steroids, then you're gonna ruin the whole system, you know, put more stuff on it, you know, try to do this and that, compete with this body. You know what I'm talking about? So you can ruin the body as well by just following the path of like, I want to be better, I want to get stronger, I want to get bigger, I want people to look at me because I look different, you know. Again, intention. What is your intention? You know? So with pretty much like, so, you know, the the sodium, you shouldn't cut it. I think you should eat Himalayan sea salt and put
Where
on
can I get this?
it's Costco. There's like a whole tub. I'll get you one Christmas gift.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I'll bring you this next time I see you. I'll have a whole tub of sodium, and you tell your mom when you're making my food, just put this only, don't put salt, and tell her the information about it, that it doesn't raise blood pressure, it doesn't make you have any of that. Why? Because it's paired with a lot of minerals, and the amount of sodium itself in that quantity of salt is way smaller than the real salt, you know, than the fake salt, the washed up salt we have, like Morton's or whatever. Oh shit, like whatever brand out there. Yeah,
So
that is not sea salt. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah.
So, go ahead.
I want to touch on, okay, so you mentioned quite a few times how a lot of kids nowadays, you know, they just can't, they're struggling, they're depressed, they're having suicidal thoughts,
Men,
and some
yeah.
of them are.
18 to 49, I think. Yeah.
What do you think
Overdose, which is pretty much the same thing.
if, let's say we had someone with us right now who is very suicidal right now, like he just doesn't know what to do, he wants to give up.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell him? How would you convince him to, you know, to turn his life around, like continue living, but live a healthier life, you know, like benefit not just yourself, but also help others? How would you convince that person to turn life around, basically?
So, you cannot convince anybody to do anything. They have to be willing to listen and get the information. But the thing that worked for me again is when I was in that bad spot, were kind and showed love to me, choose love to me, to give me. So for somebody who want to kill himself, why do you think he want to kill himself? Because he doesn't have love from anyone. So if you just gave him love, you know, I mean, I sound like I know it all right now, but literally, if you just started with love, man, how you doing? You know, like if you know him that well, you hug your friend. You know, if you wanna go do something, let's work out tomorrow. Like try to give him something to look forward to, an exciting thing to do with you. Like let's go like have drinks. I mean, if that's his thing, but you know, of course, later it's gonna ruin the idea. Like make it probably worse if you're already suicidal. But try to give him love, or give that person just love, that you care about them, that you appreciate them, that they're so special to exist, and that you're so lucky to be around them, and try to make them, to show them their own value in the way you react towards them, you know?
Yeah.
And then once you know you're not a threatening person, you're not misunderstanding, try to explain these concepts. Why you want to kill yourself? You know, that's not really yourself. You know, that's like your ego. We are supposed to kill ego, multiple egos. It's going to keep coming up, you know, and you're supposed to die and we're good. You know, you're supposed to like reach the understanding is like, oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry. That's not me. You know, it doesn't mean that like, you know, that's not me. I'm not really, that wasn't me, that point, you know, I know now, and I didn't do that same thing again. That's how it's supposed to be. Because what we're coming back from is us judging ourselves, our inner thoughts, and our inner self-talk. So our inner self-talk, if that is not 100% you rock, then everything falls apart. And why? Because there is no internal self-love. Why there is no internal self-love? Because we've been taught to be scared. You have to do what looks good. You have to make what makes people make you think you're shit. You have to be like above and beyond of everyone else. You gotta work out. You gotta be the best. You gotta work. You gotta have a job. You gotta be the best. You gotta have a car. You gotta be the best. And it's like, what the fuck is this? I'm best against who? You know? And it's discipline. Like when you see most people already don't understand what we're talking about, dude. They lose their chance in this existence or this realm to experience this true potential by thinking they're their ego part. You know, they're like whatever happened to them is not supposed to teach them something. And I know there is gravity in like this. Like there's some grave situation that happens, and there's some like other ways of understanding, but it usually derives from you cannot get over what happened to you. But what is the point of you being here? Just experience. Did somebody promise it's all going to be good experience? No. And what is the point of that bad experience? It's supposed to challenge you so you would learn from it. That's how it works. How do you get stronger? You're supposed to challenge that muscle so it gets stronger. How do you get smarter? You're supposed to study and understand and understand how to challenge that concept of the whole science to become better at anything, to become better at practicing any job, you know? It's that discipline, man. Without discipline, without your being controlling that body, yeah, it's a mess. You want to rest that body, you want to have that addictive response, you want to do that, you want to get that, you know, you want to always be, oh, I'm so tired, I need to rest, I need to do this. It's like, okay, I'm not against rest. Of course you need to rest, you need to have leisure time and stuff like that. But is your soul really happy in that? You know? Are you really completely and fully aware of your intention? And I think that's what get also misunderstood. The intention is like why people do a lot of stuff. It's like, what is their intention? It's ego. And it's very easy to see for you and for me, latent. But we understand, right? So for somebody who thinks that the life is gone, is like, give them love, just be there, you know, and show them how they're important and how like they're amazing they are, or like from small experiences, like remind them of who they are, because that's another thing, you know, and just show them that is love. And if they're accepting to learn, to understand or listen to you or whatever, because, you know, then just tell them, bro, that's not really you, man. What's going on in your head is just 5% of your whole brain. There is 95% called the subconscious, the source of power, God, which we're part of, right? Like, this is supposed to be the ego. Whatever happened to you that challenged you, that you cannot live with it, is literally what's going in your mind. And this is supposed to be challenged. It's going to feel bad because you're making yourself feel bad. You're supposed to learn and develop and not look back. That's the whole point. You know? It's so... we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to share a lot of love. We're going to repeat the same message over and over and over. Hopefully, at least it would save someone's life, or at least get people better aware and understanding of this way of living. Because it's not only beneficial to them, it's beneficial to them and everybody around them. You know? It's just like, it doesn't make sense when you understand why I was like that way. And that's why I like wanted to do like the whole idea of the podcast. Is like, I literally had to search for so long to understand some concepts that it wasn't really like, it wasn't easy to find. It's like, why is it like that? You know? So that's the thing, is just get more awareness, share love. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like it also has to do with just like how today is. It's today, like this world we live in. Yeah. It's a very materialistic world. Mm-hmm. You know, everything goes upon like, what do you own? What do you have? You know, what car do you drive? Mm-hmm. How many houses do you have? Mm-hmm. How many kids do you have sometimes, you know? Correct. Which is obviously a good thing, but like some people just take it to extreme. But also, I mean, going back to just the materialistic, mm-hmm. You know, like people, like they go through like, it's like, how do you explain it?
Go ahead.
They see it as a status symbol where mm-hmm. I own, you know, a Corvette or a Bugatti mm-hmm. or whatever, but they're not satisfied, you know, because maybe the person who you know, like they're up against, like someone they don't like, all of a sudden pulls up in like a $1 million car, and they're like, oh my God, beat him. You know, I have to show that mm-hmm. I can make more money more than him mm-hmm. because I want the attention mm-hmm. or something. Mm-hmm. You know, like mm-hmm. it's kind of sad that this world we live in, it's all about like your status. Mm-hmm. You know, not of what you know, or no, or like just like your, how, I guess even like how smart you are really, because they could say like, oh, you're so smart, where's your Bugatti, where's
Mm-hmm.
your, $1 million house, and it's all about status symbols
Mm-hmm.
in this world. It's
I think it's a misunderstanding, though. It's not all about status symbols, because you're supposed to be pulled into that. Uh, it's demon time, bro. It's just whatever the body demands, and you're supposed to think that your value is only what other people think of you, right? But your true value, because it's so interesting. I don't want, like, you can be the happiest you are by yourself. You have that choice, right?
mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes.
That's beautiful that we touched down on that. So why do you need other people? Why do you care what they say? I mean, you're supposed to spread love but not care about their egos. That is not your problem. You defeated yours, then they're good. Whatever you want to say about me, sure. That's your opinion. It's all good. I'm not even thinking about it again. Was there something to learn here? I don't think so. But if somebody uh, trying to, you find everybody's acting towards you as an asshole, or like a pattern, nothing is working out from you, then it's you. But everything is all right, and some person's just having their own demon. There's just like, okay, you're not gonna ruin my day. That's your day. You're that energy. You're jealous of my energy. You're jealous I beat my demon. It's like, no, your demon's not gonna jump in here. Good luck.
I feel like it also has to do with the people you're around, right?
100%.
Of course.
100%.
And not just that, but like this, like society. It also depends on society, you know. If you live in an area where it really matters what car you drive, or
Which is everywhere.
exactly, yeah, it's kind of sad, but
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, like then like you're gonna fall into that. I'm not sure what the term is. I think it is called pedestrian mindset,
Reptile mind.
where yeah, you
Yeah.
just follow what's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's normal to buy the most expensive car you could afford,
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna go with it because it's
Mhm.
normal. If it's normal to marry like 10 wives, and you'll go with it because
Mhm.
it's normal. And so like your mindset, you don't want to be that person that stands out. So automatically you do what everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's so hard to get out of that mindset because you don't want to like look different. And honestly, it's
Bro.
you just have to like you just have to find that even a single friend who is different, who knows that
Mm-hmm.
these things don't matter,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And sometimes like you could be that friend. You
You
could
are
be that
that friend
person.
for me, though.
I
I
hope
swear
so,
to God.
yeah.
I had the worst demon, and it's exactly because of what you're saying right now. Why am I tripping about my value because of other people' beliefs or thoughts about me? You know, I can only, what only matters to me is in my control. Everything else, it doesn't really matter or bother me, because I can look for a better future and I can try to do the best thing I could do, right? And then that's it. That they or you being programmed into that, and that's called the matrix, the empire. It's normal. That's like what this test is, life is in general. It's supposed to test you. It's supposed to challenge you. Nobody said it would be easy. I mean, it's a shit ton of songs about that, but it's supposed to have this as a pull, because at the end of the day, it's a test. Are you going to succeed and become a doctor? No, that's not God playing, homie. But are you going to succeed in fulfilling your potential and helping the community and humanity for whatever you believe, even if it will minute? You have no idea of your effects. Even if you going down and smiling at other people, bro, it is insane how people react towards you. It is just the kindest acts. Just make it a habit to do kind act, generous nature actions, even if you don't feel that yet. It's just gonna start building up on it. It's just one step at a time. You cannot start with meditation. You cannot shut your mind. It took me 6 months, but you cannot shut your mind. Okay, so let's start to imagine or lie to myself, okay, I feel a little bit good, let me be nice to them. Don't you, when you feel good, you're nice to others, right?
Yeah.
And again, why don't you feel good? Oh my God, we got to go back to the whole idea is because you're not allowing yourself to feel good. Why? Because you're taking the value from the society and other people and ideas of you and beliefs about you. And you think you're competing for that to be like them. It's like they don't matter, as like their opinions and demons and egos don't matter to you. You have your own demon and ego to beat, right? And then once you get that under control and sure his boss, and like you try to find your potential, you're trying to do good, you're trying to spread love regardless, and that's the point. And then it just everything clicks on from there. But whenever you're trying to compete, whenever like you care about what people talk shit, whenever you care about, oh my God, I'm isolated, oh my God, I'm like alone, there's no friends, it's like it's better no company than bad company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's better for you to be alone if you find everybody around you is just that's their vibe.
And plus, it's good to be that person who has positive attitude, right? Like why should when someone asks you how are you doing and you say, oh, I'm doing so bad, why can't you just say, I'll get better, I'm doing okay, whatever. Why
Get
what
closer to the mic, please. Yeah.
Yeah, why not have, like, good attitude about this, like, even if you had the worst day of your life, like, why not at least try to be positive about it, that it could get better,
Of course.
like, just it's
Yeah, but again, why would you have a bad day? That doesn't mean like you have a, you doesn't have a, you're guaranteed to have all good experiences, right?
mhm.
But something happened, you're supposed to feel the emotion, understand or whatever going on. You're like conscious, like, okay, there's something to learn here, yes or no, whatever. And then from there, that's it. The emotion dissipated. You released it. It's not going to hold on to you and become a trauma, right? And then you either learned or there's nothing to learn or just ego riled up. And then this, you have to learn, and also that's a good point. Your basic state, like your baseline state, without anybody being there, without any stimulant, without any excitatory stuff, without people around you or exciting shit to do or stuff you love or anything, or without going to work either. Like, what is your basic state? Like, what if you're by yourself? How do you feel? I feel bad. Oh my God, I gotta work. You know, we got work to do because literally you're buried yourself in. Literally, you're buried. Your true potential is buried by putting these thoughts and toxins and letting these arrows hit you, other egos, other ideas about you. Oh, I hit him. He doesn't feel good about himself because he know I talk about him. Oh my God, look at him. You know, whatever they say, man, whatever they say, it doesn't phase you. You know who you are, and you have to be true to yourself for saying that. If you really, how do you gain confidence? How do you have a better life? Is doing things that you're proud of. And you show yourself that you have that discipline. That's gonna make you feel better. That's why and people are like like when we're bringing this subject, I think it's like just go work out. That will make you feel a lot better. Don't do anything else. Just work out. Unless you started to have this seed of discipline and potential and like understand how to like, oh, okay, this is, I have to run this body because this is mechanics kind of thing. So I have to get rid of that like of that excess, energy in the morning, whatever, like working out or running or whatever. I have to have some sunlight immediately after waking up so I can sleep good at night. That is also another, well, I mean, hopefully not missing knowledge anymore. And then from there, you just one step at a time. But because I was one of those people, honestly, and that's what I was thinking is just, it is not really, it is not really that you choose to be there. It's that your understanding of life and existence is challenging to you. So people show me hate is because I'm giving hate. Why am I giving hate is because I think everybody is coming in. Like, I'm not giving love. So if I'm not giving love, then definitely you're not receiving love.
Mm.
If you're not, but that's it. Because if you already have You don't need attention. You don't need people to say who you are because you know who you are. You're gonna do this whether there are 100 million people around you or nobody around you. You know who you are, right? And you're not the disguised or like trying to fake a personality because that will lead to a suicide. You of who you are, and like that's why like there's like Anthony Bourdain. So there is who you really are and the marketable version of himself, right? The famous cook chef, right? So that's not him, right? Because it's marketable. That's not true. I mean, you're true, correct? So for him to dissipate from who he really are to whatever the point he reached, like to this version is like, dude, this is not me. And it's gonna keep getting wider if you didn't like make something. And then at some point is like, I don't know who I am.
I kind of want to touch on that actually. You mentioned personas essentially.
Okay.
Like the famous chef, you know, he plays a marketing character on TV, for instance. Like let's say for
the
instance,
marketable version, I mean like the famous part of him, you know, that's not really who he is.
exactly. And so people like for
Take
instance,
that as a
they see
belief.
that.
Yeah.
They see that
They think that
they
that's
actually
really
is
them.
him.
That is not me.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter people. He have enough of that feedback. I am not that guy you see on TV. Like it's part of me, but that's not 100% who I am.
Yeah.
You know?
And then people see that and they feel bad, like how come he has so much energy and you know he's always feeling like happy. He you know he lives the best life. Why can't I be like that? You know? And they just don't realize that like he's not always like, you know, in a cheerful or always like yelling or always
Nobody is.
yeah. And because they don't see that, they don't believe it. Like people naturally, what they don't see, they don't believe. Right?
Yeah, because there's no faith. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Because the only way you would reach this understanding of who you really are is by having faith in yourself. I mean, faith is like religion, right? But it's not really religion. It's just believe that what you're doing is right. That's it, you know? So for me or for you to like make a project or something, we have to believe that's a right project, right? People can say it's not real. It's like, I don't care. We're doing this, correct? That's the same thing with belief. And what happens? Most people who follow through that belief and that like tenacious going after what they believe is their true calling, they make it. Why? Because they're not thinking about other people. They have the faith in themselves to do it. What is themselves? It's God. Again, we're part of God. Again, I want to keep doing this all the time because it blew my mind when I understood it. We're supposed to love God, the Holy King, more than ourselves, but we are part of it. So the closer one is because it's right here, is us, you know, is like, didn't you know that even in the Quran, that God is closer to you than your jugular vein, you know? And that because that's what it means. So it's love yourself so much. Know how to stop that body, know how to meditate and shut down the thoughts of anything. And then from there, you're going to have a true calling of what is your true potential. I tried to do it the other way. I did every other thing than meditation. It didn't work. You have to be in control. You have to show who's boss every day. It can get tiring. You can fall off. It's all normal. But the majority, the consistency, the direction you're going through is I am following what I love. I want to do what I have passions for. I want to give love and value to other people. I want to give more than I would take. I'm not expecting anything from anyone, but I'm here to give more love to everybody around me.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, you gotta be that person who
And
gives.
you're not doing it for anybody else. You keep saying that person. I'm not doing it for
Exactly.
anyone else. You're doing it for yourself.
You're doing it for yourself.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. It all works together, right?
Exactly. You don't help that homeless person because you feel bad for him. You help that homeless person because you know there's barakah in that.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
the difficulty of being homeless and the difficulty of we all go through some financial stuff and like, oh my God, can you imagine whatever choices? Of course, there is always love to be given. But again, that doesn't mean you trust people or like you be vigilant. You know, you have to also be aware. And like for you, you have that gift of knowing which person is good or bad around you, right? So for this understanding is like, yes, you have to be giving love, and your shield is love. It's like, oh, he just doesn't know it yet. He doesn't know what I know from the understanding and awareness, or maybe he's not following he's not following his true passion. Whatever is going on, like whatever you're saying, putting yourself in their shoes. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they said to me. If you started taking things personal, that's when your life go to hell.
Exactly.
Yeah. Always look for something to learn from what other people have to say towards you, and just trying to make yourself go better. People like, dude, I work in retail. I had a lady come, was like, first thing she looked at me, it's like, oh my God, you're so old. I was like, no.
But she's an old lady.
Of course. I was like, of course. I am old. Whatever the fuck you want to say. Who the fuck are you? You know, it's not that I hate her, but it's just like, who the fuck are you, ego? Because that's other ego talking to you. Because you chose to give that hate, right?
Exactly.
You chose to hurt other people. So it's like, oh, you're demon? Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Yes, I'm so old. You want to see? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But of course, I couldn't do that at work. But if somebody said that to me, that's what I do in real life. It's like, oh my God, you know, you think I'm that person?
Yeah.
I'm even worse. You know, should I cry because that's your belief? Should I feel bad about myself? Should I think you really opinion matters? Fuck your tip, bitch. You know, for real. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's less like you have to gain control, bro. And that is a disaster. That is really a disaster that's going on right now.
I think everyone should at least experience working at a customer service job. No, I'm serious. Because
humility, I believe so.
exactly, you gotta build that humility. Like that person has all the power to say something
to
like
humiliate you on
exactly.
the go. So it's like if you let that go through you, it's like you're gonna feel horrible. And that's what literally happened to me at the beginning because I wasn't understanding. And again, it's the point of God putting me through that to understand this part. I was like, oh, now I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that you're better than somebody. Remember when I was telling you about? It's like I'm not talking to the human being. I'm not being cocky. I'm talking to the demon because he chose to display bad shit. He chose to not give love. And I'm sorry, I'm intentional love only.
Yeah.
For that demon, I'm gonna flip him off. It's like,
But I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
But that demon, he feeds off of your anger.
I'm
right?
not angry. I'm happy. I'm teasing.
No, I know. But like for instance, like going after that demon, saying, "Oh, f you," like
no, I'm
you
not
suck,
saying. I'm
whatever.
saying that in my mind. Like this.
Even that.
Your thought doesn't matter.
Even no, that does matter. Actually,
No, that's exactly. If it were something to learn, but like I said, it's a vamp, hateful speech towards me. You're so old. It's like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
There's nothing to learn here, so it shouldn't even hover in your brain and think about it.
But I mean, you could take that as not for you to like better yourself, but to see how that person, like, to understand that person
they're all
more.
of course, I don't want to go into where the place where I work, but
yeah.
they're all into a lot of like, you know, yeah. So,
but like, I mean, you could see that like, okay, they called you old, so maybe that person is self-conscious of their age. Like, I think
that's actually better.
if I call other people, oh, you look so old, you look so wrinkly, you look so fat, whatever, something like that, they're self-consciously like saying that because
Correct.
in the past they were told these things.
See, man, I'm always learning from you. Sir, I swear to God, I just see, this is another ego death. Because I thought like you're supposed to like make fun of the other people's ego because it's not your ego, right?
Yeah.
But no, you're supposed to actually even give love to that ego.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that person.
Because that feeds in the loop. If you just give hate and hate, that's where like the whole thing starts. Yeah.
Exactly. And that person, you may not know it, but maybe that's a cry for help.
Oh no, 100%.
Maybe they don't know it, but they're begging for help.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you because nobody would just go and say that unless it's like, what is going on in there?
Exactly, yeah.
Literally, it's like, oh my, it's like okay, it's like they need to go to school or something, and just you know what I'm talking about. But no, that is actually very good. So here we go, another ego death. I didn't have to commit suicide.
Okay.
Yes. So give love on both ends. It's true. That's the last part. My ego want to stay over there. So I was allowing it to stay like fighting other egos, but it's like not even there, bitch. You're not gonna exist there. Amazing. That's good.
Another thing I want to touch on is like cursing.
I should take it as it's because it's bad for the heart.
It's not that it's bad for that. it's bad for your tongue.
I think it's more of like expression, but you're correct. You're correct. Yeah, you're correct
Because
about that. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is a good way to express, but why not use fancier terms?
It's true, or better vocabulary.
Exactly.
100%.
Because like when you say curse words, your tongue is like tasting bitterness. You may not taste it like your physical tongue.
No, it's true. That's why you want to spit later or something, because it's literally negative energy in your throat. Yeah.
Like why not make that negative energy and build upon it, Why not like stop yourself? Oh, you fabulous person, whatever. Like you change it because you don't want to dirty your tongue with this foul
No, that
language,
is actually very good. That's actually very correct. Yeah, I mean, it's true because we're just starting this too. So I'm like getting transitioned from like a huge crowd of people watching us, and I think it's a very good and sound thing to just not, because even when I watch the other people, when they start cussing, it's like it's just what the hell is this? Or who want to watch a video and people say fuck and shit and like all that stupid stuff. Yeah. What if a kid was watching and the parents were there? It was like, what the fuck?
They're gonna look at us and say we shouldn't let our kid watch this stuff. It
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that gets I'm gonna bleep that's curses.
I mean, go through entire like 5 hours of editing.
It's not that really that long, but I mean it's
but
good.
Still, like it makes it easier for like not just that, but like
also awareness and make you think about different vocabulary and a better way to communicate yourself to other people. Yeah, that's
and plus we want to be that good example. We want to show what a good person looks like, right? We don't want to explain it and say
not for anyone else, for me first. For
exactly
me only,
for
actually.
you.
Yeah.
For yourself, but the viewers can still take something.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because that's usually how it started. It has to be genuine, So if like I'm stopping cursing, it's right here, it's out there, it's everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's honestly from everybody like who's been on here on a podcast or whatever, which I'm gonna show you. They didn't use that terms. You're right as much. That's correct. Yeah. That's what I learned too. That's what I just linked up. It's okay. Yeah,
definitely. It's all learning curve,
No, bro. As long as we're alive, we're learning. And I know I don't know shit, and I'm just this collective knowledge and information that I tried my best to make a sense out of it. But that doesn't mean that I know everything, and I'm always an open cup to be filled with knowledge in the littlest, smallest thing, So no, 100%. Yeah, you're correct about that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So how do you deal with your body?
Physical or mental?
Let's start with physical. How do you deal with physical? You work out, or what do you? Or like the urges?
When I have urges to eat.
Oh no, eating doesn't count.
Okay.
But you're supposed to stop eating like at 7 or 8 p.m. though.
Yeah.
Okay, good job.
Yeah. I mean, the way I work my body is physical. Like, working out. I do try to work my entire body. I don't skip leg day.
Okay, good job.
Thank you. And I just try to, it's hard to explain. I just work out. I try to have like good gestures. I keep my back up. I try to walk. When I walk around, I try to show that confidence. Like I puff my chest. I don't puff it up. I keep my back straight.
Good posture, yeah.
Exactly. I want to show like for instance, your stance is everything. When you have a good stance, when you have your shoulders back, your chest up, people look at you and see like, oh, this person looks tough, or this person looks like he knows what he's doing, right? Like for instance, if you see someone with like shoulders like, slunched over and they're like, their heads down, they're looking at the floor or whatever, you're going to see that person and you're going to think like, that person is probably going through some stuff. He could be the happiest person in the world, but his posture makes him look like he's struggling.
That's 100%. You got that insight too. That's beautiful. Yeah, I was about to comment on exactly what you're about to say right now. Yeah, 100%. It's that whenever they went to that ego and their like self-doubting beliefs and thoughts of themselves, that's why they like feel weaker and belittling and small. But whenever they're connected with that soul, that source of energy, that God, they're going to be having the good posture and relax, because you're proud, you're fearless. Because what is fear? The loss of this? What is this? It's just an experience, so somebody cannot threaten you with the loss of this. You cannot be worried about like what's going to happen to this, the anxiety. What's an anxiety? You're worried about what's going to happen in the future. It's like it didn't even really happen, bro. You're just supposed to be all in right now, right here. right now, right here. How do you say this correctly with the American R's?
Right here, right now.
Right here, right now. Close enough.
Yeah, there's no rolling, just R.
There's no
There's no R.
Okay.
Like
So
rolling.
right now, right here.
You gotta say with like a Western accent, like
So right now,
right
here.
now, right now, yeah, right now,
Right,
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 right, yeah,
Right?
right, yeah,
right.
right.
But it's supposed to be like the tongue on the back of the mouth. It's like
It kinda-
right, like
right.
Rumsfeld.
Yeah,
Rumsfeld, right.
There you go.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
there you go.
All right. See, I'm just collecting of knowledge. Yeah. So amazing. So you deal with that body. So working out. What you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is a co-host. His name is Ramiz. He's gonna